everybody, feel free to sing along.
I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river in my soul. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river in my soul.
I've got joy like a fountain.
I've got joy like a fountain. I've got joy like a fountain. I've got joy like a fountain in my soul. I've got joy like a mountain. I've got joy like a fountain. I've got joy like a fountain in my soul.
I've got love like an ocean.
I've got love like an ocean. I've got love like an ocean. I've got love like an ocean in my soul. I've got love like an ocean. I've got love like an ocean. I've got love like an ocean in my soul.
Peace like a river.
I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river in my soul. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river in my soul. Peace like a river in my soul. I've got peace like a river in my soul. Can you feel it?
Can you feel it?
Woo! Right in your soul, yeah. Good morning and welcome.
What a perfect way to start our day. Thank you so much. All right. First one I want to say, please silence your phone. If you haven't done it yet, please do that. May this service bless each of us, which we've already been blessed, on your spiritual path. Those of you that are here in person, those of you that are joining us on Zoom or Facebook, and all of those who are with us in spirit. My name is Celeste Kroll, and I'll be guiding us through the sacred service this morning. I want to know, are there any first-time visitors? And if you are willing, will you please raise your hand so that we will recognize you? Any first-time visitors? Okay, we're all family. All right. And online visitors may see our website at unitygainesville.org. I invite you now to stand up and let us say our vision, mission, and core values. And they might be listed on the screen. If not, you can see them over there. The first one is going to be vision. So let's say it together. Centered in divine love and wisdom, we joyfully create a world united in positive spirituality. All right, the next one is mission. Together, through prayer, meditation, spiritual education, and service, we put God's love into action. And then core values. Together, spirit-led, and we are love. We are generosity. We are gratitude, and we are inclusivity. Thank you. I don't know if you could tell, but orange, I really worked hard to get the best orange I could, but it was hard. Orange is the color of the second chakra, and the series container is creativity. So the anchoring thought, let's say this together. Please repeat after me. Creativity is intelligence having fun. Creativity is intelligence having fun. And that was by Albert Einstein. Next is our evocation by our minister.
Hey, y'all, what's up? What's up? Yes. I love it. We're getting used to the celebration that happens. So as our body wakes up, it's something else that happens. We are activating our muscles and our sinews. But the thing that's also happening is we're reconnecting with the joy that is this experience we call life. And so when I say what's up, what's up? What's up, what's up? Yes, y'all. What's up? So in this divine moment, we are being reminded of the truth of who we are. And so I invite you to take a cleansing breath when I hit the gong. So let's just take a breath real quick. That breath is our superpower. So we hit the gong for the first time, acknowledging that there is only love. And that love has a lot of different names. On the continent of Africa alone, there are 2,000 languages. So 2,000 different words for what we call God and love. Yet they're all one entity. And so we hit the gong for the first time, acknowledging that there is only love. We hit the gong a second time, acknowledging who we are. So if there is only love, AKA God, and then there's us, then that means we are the expression, the activity, the articulation of what we call God and love. How powerful is that? And so we hit the gong a second time for that reminder. We hit the gong a third and final time for this reminder that yes, there is only love, AKA God. And yes, we are the articulation of that divinity. But we got taxes, we got politics, we got speeding tickets, right? Me, not y'all, okay. Right? We got all the stuff that comes with being us. And so we hit the gong for the third time for the reminder to bring all the clarity of who we truly are into everything we do. And so it is. This morning during our meditation, the birdies outside were in full conversation, okay? They were having a gossip session, all right? And so as we leave the door open throughout our service today, you'll be able to hear the birdies talking, which I think is incredible. So the birds are a reminder of the flow that is without effort. And so that's us. And so here at Unity, we love to celebrate. So hopefully when you came in, you got a hug or you got a conversation going. But one thing that we love to do is we love acknowledging anything to celebrate. So with that being said, do we have anybody in our community that celebrated a birthday last week? A birthday. What, Gary? Oh, he said a week before, 29. All right, happy belated birthday. Any other birthdays? Okay. Any anniversaries? No. Sean was waving saying happy birthday. Yes. Okay, listen, a milestone can be anything, right? So if you clean that closet and it's been lingering on your mind, that's a milestone. So if you have, yes, I see you, Melinda. Yes, I see you, Paul and Bonnie. That's right. Okay. So we're celebrating that. And then finally, we know in our experience, one of the things that's most difficult is when our bodies are moving through a healing journey. You know what I'm talking about? And it shows up in a lot of different ways. And so just wave your hand if this was a week where you're like, yeah, I'm moving through a little bit of a physical healing journey. Okay, I see you. And lastly, we have many in our community who are moving through the healing of grief. And we know there is no finish line when it comes to moving through grief. And so we want to acknowledge all those in our community who's moving through healing in their grieving journey. We see you and we love you. Okay, so here at Unity, we are acknowledging the truth of who we are. And so when we rub our hands together, we're acknowledging that God is closer than we even call our breath. And so we're going to rub our hands together, and we're going to extend it to those around us, because a lot of hands were waving just now. And repeat after me. We see you.
We see you.
We know you for who you truly are.
We know you for who you truly are.
God in expression.
God in expression.
We see you.
We see you.
We wrap our arms around you.
We wrap our arms around you.
On your sacred walk.
On your sacred walk.
And so it is.
And so it is.
And so we light the candle for that symbol of oneness. And this month, for the next 7 weeks, we are honoring the Sacral Chakra. And so we're going to light this orange candle.
Okay, community highlights. There's a lot going on, just to let you know. I encourage, one thing I want to say is about the e-blast. I can't tell you how much information comes out every Friday on the e-blast. Star puts that out. She puts a lot of work into it. I live by that e-blast. There is a connection card, if you're not on it, that is in the, as you walk right through the door on the left-hand side, there's these cards. They're in white, but you fill it out so that then you can receive the weekly e-blast, which has everything you need to know about what's going on. It's amazing, all the stuff that she puts in there. I just would like people to make use of this, because you're going to be so much better informed if you do. But this is how to get on it, is to fill this card out and then give it to Geo or to Star. Okay. Also, reminder, meditation gathering every Sunday from 9 to 10 a.m., which is very unique for our church to be able to do that. Also, there's a prayer partner clinic on the first, third, and fifth Sunday of the month from 12:30 to 1:30. And the next thing is, this is a very special day because we have a potluck going on right after the service, and it's about the Women's History potluck, dedicated to the power of women. Members brought dishes inspired by their favorite woman hero. I'll just tell you, I made a key lime pie and a flan, but it was in memory of my mother, who attended this church since 2006 for about 10 years or more, but people that have been here a long time knew her, Frances Della Cuesta, so it was in honor of her. Let's see, and then another special thing coming on after our luncheon is a community visioning. Now, this community visioning, we used to call it our town hall, but this is your chance to give input into what you want our church to be, how you want it to be. Give your chance to speak. So this will be right after the potluck. And another thing to say is Unity cleanup days are going to be April 5th and 12th. So please, if you can, put those dates aside to come help us clean up. All right, and then you're going to help me talk about this next thing.
You want to get it going?
I'll get it going. So we have an opportunity for a fundraiser. And this fundraiser is by a very special person who he's going to talk about in a minute, who has produced a cookbook that's going to be a great fundraiser. And the title is Life's Bounty, Unity's Best Cookbook. And it's going to be on sale starting Sunday on April the 13th from 12:30 to 3:30. And for every book that gets sold, $10 will be donated to our church. For every book that gets sold, just to let you know.
Can we say April 13th? April 13th, that's on a Sunday. Right after service, we're going to have a special book signing. Mary, can you raise your hand? So listen, y'all. Yes. Hey, Mary. So listen, y'all, we honor flow. And when those sparks of ideas come forward, we just got to say yes. And so Mary was led to self-publish a cookbook that was on her spirit since 1975. And so she said, I gotta do it. And what Spirit told her was now or never. And so she said, now. And so she self-published 500 books for it to be, in part, a fundraiser for us. And so on April 13th, immediately after service, we're gonna be able to get hors d'oeuvres and samples from the cookbook, and Mary's doing a book signing. And so I encourage all of us to just show up and show out. Because what's happening is when we honor the creative idea, so the Sacral Chakra is all about that creative core. And so for these 7 weeks, we're saying yes. And so a lot of ideas have come forward, and this is just one exciting. And so April 13th, I want y'all to mark your calendars. Thank you so much, Mary, for doing this for our community. And this is an opportunity for us to be in community and also get some good food, okay? So thank you, Mary. A couple of other quick announcements. So can y'all look around? Look around. Just look at each other. Look at each other, all right? We are all responsible when we see a new face. Okay, y'all? Y'all see my eyebrows? This is how I talk to my 5-year-old. I'm like, listen, the eyebrows go up here, okay? So listen, y'all, we are responsible for each other. And what that means is, back in the day, so Sally and I, we've been coming here for 4 years. Celeste's been coming here even longer. Back in the day, you knew everybody. So you could just kind of roll in and say, hey, and keep it moving. Guess what? There are a lot of new faces. And even if you should know that person's name, the best way to do it is, I know I should know your name. What is your name again? Right, just go for it. Just say it out loud, right? Because what has been shared with me and the board president is that we've had newcomers that have come into the space but haven't felt welcomed, right? And you know we know how to do that. We know how to hug and love on each other. And so I'm asking all of us, even if you've seen this person before, or if you haven't, I'm calling on every last one of us to just introduce ourselves and extend a hand. Can we do that? And y'all, we're growing. We're growing. When I first started attending here on Zoom, it was 7 people. 7 people. And now we're averaging 40 to 45 people every single service. And we're going to keep growing. And so as we grow, I'm calling on all of us to just extend a hand. Can we do that? That was my big announcement. Okay. Before Celeste reads the daily word, I wanted to do a quick bio of Reverend Marcy. Yeah. So if you were here a month ago, Reverend Marcy and I did a really fun format change, and we're going to do the exact same thing. As you see these chairs, we're going to hold conversations in spirit. But to learn more about Reverend Marcy is actually celebrating 50 years as a minister. 50 years. 50 years. And so we are in safe hands. Reverend Marcy is also a registered nurse and a visionary and considered to be an energy specialist. She's a spiritual guide, counselor, self-love coach, minister, and certified hypnotherapist, specializing in past life regression. She's a published author, creator of award-winning manifestation products, TV host, and podcast host of the High Vibe Tribe. And y'all, this bio is so long, I'm gonna pause here, right? Because we're gonna be able to learn more about Reverend Marcy's journey, her offering, and I gotta tell y'all, it's a surprise coming. I don't wanna let the cat out the bag, but something special that's been designed for our community is something happening. So, that's the bio.
All right, so I'm going to read it just so happens that the daily word today is perfect. The word is joy. And the affirmation is, joy fills my heart and warms my soul. And the scripture is from Psalm verse 118, 24. This is the day that the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. So today I will view the world through eyes of joy. This mindful practice will make even the most ordinary things seem special, and the things I may have taken for granted seem fresh and new. Even the energy I bring to my relationships will be imbued with harmony and peace. I will feel lighter, kinder, and more connected to the people in my life when I commit to living with joyful intention. Moments of frustration, disagreements with others, and disappointments may disturb my equilibrium for a time, but will not rob me of my joy. I honor God each time I share my joy. As I bless myself by feeling joyful, I bring more love, more peace, and more happiness to the world. The affirmation again, joy fills my heart and warms my soul.
I love this daily word so much that I wrote a song about it.
Joy fills this day. Can't you just feel the way that your toes tap? It's a sway thing, and all you wanna do is sing.
You can clap your hands or tap your laps, anything you want. There we go.
Love fills this heart. Can't you just feel like part of the sunshine in the new spring? And all you wanna do is sing. Sometimes I don't feel so good, but I lift my head up high. This world's got so much love, and I know I can find joy. Joy fills this day. Can't you just feel the way that your toes tap? It's a sweet thing, and all you wanna do is sing.
So let's sing. You guys ready to sing? La la la. Here we go.
La 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 to just feel the way that your toes tap. It's a sweet thing, and all you wanna do is sing. It's the sunshine, it's the new spring, and all you wanna do is sing. Oh yeah, joy.
So if you were with us a month ago, I shared with you how Reverend Marcy and I connected. And we met a couple weeks later, and as we were talking, the vision that was coming through was this format. And I said, are you open to it? This is what Spirit is showing me. I don't know what that means, but I know that somebody in our community is going to be touched by what we share, what we do. And so, sure enough, it was special. It was special. And so we were led again to hold this format, this conversation. So in typical fashion, we would do a talk. But today, we're doing a talk. So,
and we have not spoken to each other about
nope,
this.
We have not.
No.
So
This
we're
is being in the flow.
That's right. We are open vessels to whatever this conversation is going to be. Reverend Marcy, for the past several weeks, we've been talking about the Sacral Chakra, which is our core for creativity. And what we've talked about for these past few weeks is when we stifle or suppress that impulse for creativity, it actually combusts, right? It shows up in a few different ways. One is our desire to please, our inability to say no. And also we learned that core, like we can't lop off, this is this kind of energy, this is creative energy, but in this chakra system, we learned that sensual energy, intimacy is energy, right? And so we had a lot of meaningful conversations around what creativity looks like. Can you talk a little bit about when you said yes to your creative core? I know we talked previously about how the ideas were downloaded for you to create these. Reverend Marcy has several spiritual products that were just like brought to her in vision, and they're on the market and have done incredibly well, have touched numerous people. Can you talk a little bit about how that creative idea showed up, and before you said yes, what was coming up in your life?
Knock, knock.
Who's there?
Red.
Red who?
Knock, knock.
Who's there?
Red.
Red who?
Knock, knock.
Who's there?
Orange.
Orange who?
Aren't you glad I didn't say red?
Reverend Marcy asked, do you know a knock knock joke? I said, yes, I know a knock knock joke. I am glad.
So I love the question you asked me because one of the things that I've come to realize in this creative process is that, boy, that root chakra, it works so hard sometimes to prevent us from moving forward. Remember, the root chakra is where our belief system lives, and many of those beliefs don't belong to us. And they certainly, unless we have been doing inner work, they've not been upgraded. okay? They haven't up-leveled to who we are, where we're meant to be, and what we're meant to be doing. And so when we are actually in that flow of the energy moving from the root chakra to the sacral chakra, it can actually be treacherous. It can be a very vulnerable time. And in most cases, particularly, and I think you can speak a lot to this, when we are making a huge leap and we have no idea what it's going to look like, how it's going to evolve or manifest or any of it, those beliefs that we have that would hold us back, you know, the ego like goes, we've got you now, you know, and it before that energy can extend into the sacral chakra, this is where our work is. We have to make certain that we have done the best that we can do to cleanse those roots so that when they extend into the creative center, that it's worthy of it, right? So it's interesting, but there was a study recently about when the sperm meets the egg. And we've always been taught that it's this mad race, right? All those sperm going towards that ovum, and they're out there, you know, may the best man win kind of a thing. And what actually has been found today is that it's the egg that selects the sperm. Oh, I just got God bumps. Anybody else? Woo! The egg selects the sperm. So what does that mean in terms of our sacral chakra? Well, number one, I want you to know that the sacral chakra is a feminine chakra. Root chakra is male. We know that it extends. The female is the sacral chakra. She must receive, just like the egg. She must receive. She must select. So imagine for a moment that, you know, you've been living your life as a, you know, card-carrying PTA member and lacrosse mom and, you know, all of that, and all of a sudden I am getting, you know, this energetic call to make an extreme pivot in my life, which I shared with you last time. I somehow have to bridge that gap between all of those beliefs that are deeply rooted within me as to who I am, what my role is, what my this, what my that, and start to open up to receive this new idea of me. And I want you to know it was treacherous. There was so much that I needed to let go of because they didn't seem to be aligned at the time. So when we are doing this work in the root chakra and we are preparing ourselves, which is what I did, I spent a year in preparation. I didn't know it at the time, but I spent a year in preparation for what it was that I needed to do. And when I made that huge pivot in my life, I had no idea what I was stepping into. Honestly, I thought, well, I'll, you know, just develop my Reiki program, full-time this, full-time that, you know, do this, do, in other words, in my mind's eye, it was more of the same, just expanded. And what happened is when I made this huge pivot in my life, rather than the ego now having its grip, my heart, my higher self, had a space to move in. And I can tell you my sacral chakra had been primed to receive it. Because what happened was I started to get downloads, to get visions of an entire suite of products that essentially were training wheels for the law of attraction, for people to learn how to manifest. Now, what I didn't realize is I had already been teaching these principles, but they hadn't been put to a form, you might say. And so when these products started to come through, I started to see each one individually, in detail, down to every word, down to the packaging. And what I realized, what was happening, was that I actually was also developing a new system for packaging that would activate the chakras that were necessary for the success of the product. And so all of these things were correlated. They were all together. I had no idea what I was supposed to do with these, but when you have these downloads that come through, and by the way, they would come to me in my sleep. And so I learned to keep a pad and pen and a flashlight next to me as I was sleeping. And when it came through, I would have those big legal pads, right? I would just write and write and write and write. And the next morning I'd say, where did this come from? What is that? So I had no background. I was a registered nurse. I was a spiritualist minister. Had no idea how to start a business, let alone manufacture these products. But it was relentless. I knew that that was what I was meant to do. And at the time, I didn't even know how to send an email. I mean, this was back in like 2005. I had no idea. And so, rented an office, got myself an assistant who was, very adept in business practices and computer, all of that. And I went about following the system that was given to me in creating that business. In 6 months, I had 8 products on the market. I was pulling product from all over the world, manufacturing into a fulfillment center. My products were being put together and shipped out. What happened was nothing I could have ever been prepared for, because it was, it's something to be a pioneer in a field. It's a whole other thing trying to explain to people how these things work when the law of attraction is really just sort of coming to the forefront. And it took me all over the world. And I was, speaking on the subject and showing my products and all of that. And in just a matter of a few months, I started to win awards for all of these new products on the market. And I realized, I was actually opening up a brand new industry that I knew nothing about. Like, how was it possible? And so when we receive these ideas, these downloads, they are completely different from thoughts that we have every day. You feel them, right? Like, I would wake up in the middle of the night and I would feel the rush of the energy through me. I have God bumps again as I'm speaking of this. I could feel my body just sort of surrendering and letting it come through. And then somehow I would have to pick up my pen and start writing and trying to catch up to what was coming through me. And it wasn't just the products. I had poetry coming through me. I had essays coming through me. I had all of this stuff coming through me. And there was this part of me that 100% understood it, totally got it. And the human part of me just went, I don't know about that. I don't know how to do that. I don't know this. And so in my creative process, I think the most significant thing, which is probably why they brought it to me during the night, it was the only time I'd surrender control, you know, is that level of surrender is what also takes us into a place where we actually no longer even need to trust. We just know. Our job is to move out of the way.
There is, down the street, there's a little marquee. You know, this is like Church Boulevard. There's a marquee that says, with faith, miracles follow. And I think that's beautiful, but what it demonstrates is you have to be worthy for the miracle, right? And that's where the departure comes in, because faith is actually not anything you have to work for. Like, I'm thinking about, we have a 1-year-old. One of her favorite things is when she plays, she launches herself back off of our lap, and she knows we're going to catch her. It's not like she's like, I have faith they're going to catch me. She just launches back and giggles really hard. And so faith, maybe because of our conditioning, maybe because of just the challenge of life it feels sometimes, we feel like if we got to work for everything else, it makes sense to work toward faith. But really, faith is, what is it? Look at the lilies in the field.
That's right.
Right? The lilies aren't yearning for light. They aren't saying, am I worthy to grow? Like, they're in a state of pure existence. And they're not thinking about being provided for. There is a complete and utter knowing that it's good. And it's powerful to think about faith in that way, because what you're describing is, I mean, surrender is a good word, but I think it's even deeper than surrender. It's like a sense of expansiveness, a sense of ready. It's beyond language.
It's beyond language, and it's mind-blowing because it's meant to be. We can't do this in our mind. This is thought that comes through the heart. It's a higher self. It is in the flow of creative energy. And so my question to you is, I loved this. It was a few weeks ago, maybe longer, but you were talking about you as a child and how shy you were. And now here you are, right? You're an actor, you're a filmmaker, you're a producer, a director, a writer, you're a professor, all of this. A minister. Seriously. Okay, so it's an indication to me that, and again, I got God bumps here. Anybody feeling that, by the way? Can you feel this energy that's coming forward? So it's indicative to me that the work that you did in your root chakra that enabled you are a full expression of Source itself. You are the articulation of Source energy. So what was it like for you?
Reverend Marcy, thank you so much for your words. I appreciate you, and I know it to be true. There was a time when I would hear words like that, and I would deflect, right? I was like, oh, no, that, right? Out of, I don't know, it was a fear, but when I hear now, I know it to be true. I know it, and I feel it, and I appreciate you. For me, it really did come from deep questions. So when we grew up, and many of us in this community share this truth, many of us grew up in fire and brimstone, either churches, communities. Something happened when you were in, school, a nun said a thing. We all share what bonds us is we heard something coming from a person in a position of moral leadership, and we were like, intuitively, something's not right about that. We share that in this room. And for me, I could not wrap my mind around how what we call God only has a chosen people on a planet with billions of people, but these are the ones that are the chosen few. And I couldn't wrap my mind around that. And it was like, I had deep questions. I had questions about science. And so I would go to the pastor and say, where do dinosaurs come from? And I'm a kid, because dinosaurs aren't in the Bible. And I had questions, just about fossils and and the answers that I perpetually got was, we're not meant to know that, right? You'll find out when you go to heaven or whatever the thing is, right? And y'all, and it's powerful because I don't want to giggle at it, because there are many of us who are still steeped in that distance. And oh my goodness, Sally and I had a really good meeting with a sponsor of one of our plays, and we were talking, and she said that one of the things in her church that they were taught was you are to walk softly in the sanctuary. And she said, do you know how difficult that is with heels on? And she said, to this day, she's in her 40s, to this day, people say, oh, whoa, I didn't even hear you come in. She's used to walking softly everywhere. And it's something that's ingrained. And when we were talking, I was like, whoa, I realized that I keep my shirt buttoned to the top. And it's always been my style. But in that conversation, I realized the reason why I buttoned my shirt up to the top is because as a kid, that's how you were to present. There was no open collar. It was, this is how you show up. If you don't have a tie, do not come in this building, right? And so I've adopted it as my swag, right? This is,
And wears it well.
Right?
Wouldn't
Thank
you agree?
I've adopted it as my swag, but it's like, oh, whoa, there are some remnants. And so the process that allows me to arrive here, to say yes to this post, is the process of questioning and shedding and questioning and shedding. I got as close as one can get to being an atheist. I could not be an atheist because it was too much divinity happening, but I was like, I'm close to it. And then finally, when I learned of New Thought, this is 15, 20 years ago, and then as one finds yourself, you end up at Unity somehow, right? And it was like, here's my people.
That's right.
And when I arrived at Unity, I was like, why are there not more people who know about this community? Yeah. And so what is clear to me is timing is a man-made convention, right? Timing only exists in this vibration. In spirit, there is no time. So when that moment of articulation is necessary, Unity is gonna pop. And so we're on the front lines. We're in this space of learning and growing and figuring it out. And so to answer your question, for me, it was a process of learning and shedding. And I'll wrap with saying this. When I was ordained a year ago, many of our community was present. I could not use my words because I was crying so hard. The weeping was cleansing. And what I felt energetically was I was saying yes to this reverend minister thing because I was being called to it my whole life. I just kept saying, no, I'll be an actor. No, I'll be a filmmaker. No, I'll be a teacher. At one point, I wanted to be an attorney just because I liked the idea of litigation, performing in a courthouse.
Yeah.
Right? So I'm doing all the things other than saying yes to ministry. And so when I finally said yes, there was a cracking open of, okay, let's go. And so it's been learning and shedding.
But it's also, I think what you said is so profound. It's the question asking. If we are not asking questions of ourselves, we cannot expand, because all of that energy of expansion has nowhere to go. The moment that we ask a question, we ask, what if? The walls start to expand, or at least a crack is exposed. And then the light just meanders and it makes its way through and it starts expanding and taking you. But it's that question asking that is so essential in the process. I remember as a youngster, I think I shared last time, but I had a number of past life, sort of spontaneous regressions where I saw myself in other forms and et cetera, other circumstances. And I remember trying to talk to my mother about it and just like, we can't talk about that. It was just a dream. Well, okay, so every time it would come up, I would say, I'm dreaming again, But then when I was about 16 or 17, well, first off, I actually was excused from my confirmation class. I was not allowed to go any longer because I was constantly challenging the beliefs, which was uncomfortable for my parents and family because my entire family was connected to the church. But it was around 16 or 17 where I just blew out of those belief systems because none of it fit me. And I started to really delve into metaphysics and spiritualism and et cetera. And I remember when I was ordained back in 1974, my mother telling me that I was working with the devil. And I remember, every time I would meet that resistance, particularly from family members, and still do to this day, there is this part of me that just rises up, and I go into this space not of like anger and retaliation. It's almost like I have this sword. It's almost like I'm Joan of Arc or something. And I see this sword come up, and the sword is just emanating this light. And it just extends through that darkness. And I'm able to just, radiate that light without judging them. That's been phenomenal for me. But I have to ask, when you're in your flow, because so much of what you do, your films, your plays, everything, they're social commentaries. What do you do with the anger?
Oh my goodness. What I've come to learn is anger is easy, right? And almost always anger, when it shows up and you do a thing, even if it's slamming a door, however it bursts forward, you always feel guilty afterward. You always carry the burden of, oh, man. Then you wonder if you should go apologize, and you're like, no, I wasn't right. So there's a whole commentary that happens when we move from anger. And so because I've been burned by anger, when it shows up, what I've done is I've actually quieted it, I've dampened it, but then because I haven't let it flow through me, it shows up now all of a sudden I got heartburn, right? now all of a sudden, right, I have little chest pains from hot sauce. I love hot food, y'all. So now all of a sudden the hot sauce, it's like only because I was frustrated and I didn't allow whatever that frustration to like flow through. And so what I'm moving through now is I am intellectually clear that the anger does not serve. And I have the artistic channels, the creative channels to flow through. I'll give you an example. So COVID was a clarifier for many of us, right? And for me, we got a fixer-upper. The house was built in 1976, and it needed some serious TLC. And so I tore the walls down. I took a demolition hammer and tore all the floors up. I mean, y'all, the amount of renovation that was done, but it was cleansing. Like all that energy was being released into the creative act. And so I know that to be one of my superpowers. So I'll have a thing, and I'm like, okay, this is happening. Let me create. And so I finished a film a couple days ago. I was up till 4 a.m, and I said, Sally, you got to see this. And so being able to channel, you know, we're all moving through stuff, but being able to channel this energy, because anger is energy.
That's right.
And how can we take that very intense vibration and allow it to serve us and move through? And so what I found was, at times, if I'm not careful, I'll choke it, and then I get heartburn, or, you know, I gotta find Tums. And I know I'm talking to many of us in this space.
Absolutely. And, you know, I love what you said about taking the anger and offering it to the creative process, giving it voice, because most of us are programmed to believe that anger is, it's not acceptable. And yet anger, you know, is an expression of when we're at war within ourselves, right? When we have separated from the truth of who we are, when we've separated from the fact that we are the energy of love itself. So we get angry that there's no voice for it. And, you know, when I think about when I was a child and, you know, I'd be given a box of crayons and some paper, and, you know, I'd always have to make nice pictures, right? They had to be rainbows and flowers and all that kind of stuff. And I think what's so important is that we recognize that what comes up from the root chakra is the energy that needs to be transmuted so that that egg, that sacral chakra, can now receive this higher vibrational frequency and then draw from all the other, you know, energies that are also high frequency and create something that's for the highest good of all. But when we get stuck in the root chakra and we are not processing that energy, what happens is a natural extension into what we create. And that creation typically is then a projection of the anger. And I think we're seeing a lot of that in the world right now, aren't we?
You know what's so powerful about what you're saying is the creativity is going to happen.
Yeah.
Something's going to be created.
Yeah.
Right? It's not like you could say, oh, well, I'm not feeling good, so I won't create. No, it's actively happening.
24/7.
24/7. In our sleep, we're manifesting. Even as you're downloading, we're inputting, right? Yeah. We're open to what's around us, the world around us. And so the creative act can't be stopped. Even for the example of the anger, I can't choke the creative. I can't choke that. It just turns into heartburn.
Right.
Right? That I can't stop. Okay, cool. We're not going to create with that. It's like, no, if it's not transmuted, it will absolutely be used or in some kind of act.
That's right.
Right?
Yeah. So you found this incredible process, you know, with all that you create, even being here. to be processing that energy all the time. It's giving voice to that which wants to move through us. It needs to move through us.
And Reverend Marcy, can I say this really quickly? So one of the most beautiful things about being a minister here is that I am with people in their most sacred moments.
Yeah.
And I want to call out Christina. Christina's husband passed away a few weeks ago, and I was with her as we entered the room to see his body.
Mm-hmm.
It was me and Christina. We walk into this room. The hours before, we were in hospice, and we didn't know, maybe Christina felt it, but we didn't know that this was the last time we were going to see him alive in this way. So we walk in, and when I see Edward, this clarity floods over me. This clarity of none of this matters. And by none of this, I mean the stress, the muck, the, oh my goodness, what do they think about me? Are they going to judge me? None of that matters. And when Christina and I were in the room, we saw a little bird just fluttering out by the window. And I'm like, this is creativity combusting. This is freedom. In the absence of the judgment that we hold, not just for ourselves, but the people around us. The longing, the discontent, right? There's so much that we carry, and the truth is, none of it matters. What does matter is our saying yes to the divinity of who we are.
That's right.
And so when that creative act is happening, because it's always happening, it's a hug, it's touch, it's a poem, it's service. So we're coming in for a landing before we do our meditation. When, I'm sure it happened, when you were preparing to come here today, what was brought forward for you to share?
Yeah, I just come. I just show up.
Can we sit in that silence for a second?
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. That is a vulnerable act.
Mm-hmm.
To know that we're going to do this and to say, I'm just showing up.
I'm just showing up. And it's interesting that you're asking that question, because somebody asked me the other day, because if you know me, like I've taught 8-hour classes without any preparation. I'll have an outline, so I make sure I cover things, but I don't prepare outside of that. And somebody said, well, you know, what if you find you can't do that? And honestly, I sort of asked myself that question. And then I just felt myself laughing inside, because it was such a ludicrous thought. It was ludicrous. It's like, why would Spirit not show up for me when I'm showing up for it? Yes. I don't ever have to doubt, not one moment. And now I can answer that thought came to me this morning because I remembered that question that somebody asked me the other day. That was my preparation. I had no idea what you were going to ask me. I can't tell you when I read that study about the sperm and the and the egg. I have no idea. But here it is, and it just gets drawn in. And so I prepared by putting this orange ribbon around my neck to make sure that it reminded me and reminded you that we're in this energy of creation all the time.
And so it is.
And so it is.
And so it is. So if you can move us through meditation.
Sure.
All right.
Oh my goodness. I just have to say, first off, I'm so grateful to be here. I'm so grateful for all of the love that I feel enfolding us, and how my heart is so welcomed. And so I want to extend that to you. And I want to invite you to take a breath from the endless sea of love that I also breathe through. For right in this moment, we are sharing this breath from the same sea, from the same endless energy of love that loves us so completely, without judgment or conditions or expectations of any kind. And how it asks only one thing: will we receive it? Will we allow it to love us the way it already knows to do? For it has created us. And so it knows every nook and cranny, every shadow of doubt. And it also knows exactly where to go and what to do, as it simply sweeps through, loving every part, every aspect of you. And so I invite you now to simply partner with it, co-create. As you breathe it through and you open your heart and open all the hearts and all the cells of you, and receive this love. And if you'll say yes, it will take care of the rest. Partner with it now to gather up any of those cobwebs, any of the debris, any of the toxins, and just sweep it up. You needn't know what to do with it. Just offer it up and allow yourself to begin to feel what love does, as it automatically gathers it up without any judgment or conditions or expectations, and simply holds it with loving tenderness and gratitude. And you may begin to feel it right now as it moves actually down your body, down into the soles of your feet, as it has moved all the way through, touching every part of you with love. And with your breath, give it permission now to move out through the soles of your feet, down into the beautiful silvery roots that also know exactly where to go and what to do. And let it fill those roots, and watch in awe as all the layers of the earth simply allow you to pass through. And find yourself then there in the very heart of the earth itself. And there she is, Mother Earth. And she rises with her arms outstretched to enfold you. And the moment she holds your roots to her heart, you look into her eyes and you are able to see yourself as she sees you. And the reflection is you in all of your perfection through the eyes of Mother God. And she knows why you're there. She knows that you have toxins or debris to just let go of. And you begin to see movement in your peripheral vision as a river of well-being rises up to show itself to you. And her heart opens with a huge smile, filled with gratitude. And with such love, she whispers, "You're safe. You can let go." And ever so gently, ever so lovingly, she places your roots in that river of soft, velvety water, so warm, so embracing. And you begin to feel the water, knowing exactly what to do and how to do it. And those roots that were clumped together, they start to open up, to disentangle, to let go of what no longer serves them. And you see it, and you feel it. No reason to hold tight. You're safe. Let it go. And feel the breath as it moves through, telling you yes. Let it go. And all of a sudden, you start to see the rewards of letting all of that release as new life begins to pop up, to grow all along the banks of that river. Everything that you let go magically transformed, the energy transmuted. New life begins. And in this moment, you begin to realize this is your time. And you look over and she's smiling so brightly. Her heart so full of love, and you just watch her become illuminated with this knowingness, this exchange. Yes, your time is now. And she lifts you up out of that river, holds you to her heart one more time, and then, with all that she is, she gathers up all of the love and the light, and she now breathes it into your roots. And you feel yourself free at last. And all of that energy rising up through your roots, blasting as light as it re-enters your body. As all of that light now invites all of the light within every cell and between every cell. Every particle has been activated. And you can feel your root chakra is vibrating differently. Oh, he's ready. He has gathered up all of his power now, having released that which no longer served, and with your breath, ask your beautiful sacral chakra, will you receive? Will you receive my creative energy and bring it to life? And of course, she giggles. She says, I love you. Receive all that you are. And together, we will give it life. Breathe that in and breathe it out. For this is your truth. This is your time. And with your words, repeat, I am. I am here. I have come. And now just release it all through the rest of your body. Feed every chakra, every cell, every heart, and every cell. And don't stop there. Just send it right out through the crown of your head and allow it to dance among the ethers, among the source energy that is everywhere in every direction. All that is, here and now, you are all that is. I am here, I have come. And now just breathe it out. Everything that you've seen and heard and felt and have come to remember, just send it out into the universe. Your blessings to all that is. And remember that you are a blessing to all those that you meet when you remember who you are, and your time is now. Send your thoughts of gratitude and thanksgiving for all that is, and be present here now. Feel yourself, all full of yourself, in this room, amongst all of the hearts and minds that are joined here in unity. Love is all there is. Thank you.
And so it is.
And so it is.
Let's take this feeling, this high vibration, into our giving. Because as we say many times, we're planting a seed. However we prepare our offering, that seed is being placed in fertile soil. And right now, we are fertile soil. And so whatever it is you have to give, we're going to bless it. We're going to bless it and see its full return. If you take whatever offering you have and we're going to place it over our heart, in a few weeks, we're going to learn about the heart chakra and the power of this symbol that we're doing now. And repeat after me. I take this gift.
I take this gift.
And I plant it in the fertile soil.
And I plant it in the fertile soil.
Of what we call Unity of Gainesville.
Of what we call Unity of Gainesville.
May it return tenfold.
May it return tenfold.
Bless and multiply.
Bless and multiply.
Myself and my community.
Myself and my community.
In grace and perfect ways.
In grace and in perfect ways.
And so it is.
And so it is.
So as the offerings are being prepared, I mentioned at the top of service that we have a special offering. So now we're in the spirit of offering. Reverend Marcy, you want to talk about what's
Yes.
happening?
So, and I didn't even know that we were having a visionary meeting today after the potluck. So, one of my products, which is actually the first product I was given, is a vision board kit. And it is how I built my entire business using the principles that I was given. And so I am presenting to the church a vision board kit. It's an limited edition. And we also have something else special connected to it.
Yes. Thank you so much. I have been so excited to learn about this. Thank you so much, Reverend Marcy. This is going to catapult us to another level. So next Saturday, can we say next Saturday?
Next Saturday.
Literally March 29th, next Saturday at 10:30, from 10:30 to noon,
Yep.
Reverend Marcy is doing a special master class to help us at Unity of Gainesville walk into the vision we hold. And so, of course, as you know, Reverend Marcy is a highly sought after speaker and teacher. And so she is offering this master class to us free of charge.
Yes, it is. And I'm calling it Creator's Circle. So when you come, you will be part of the Creator's Circle of this church and helping to hold the vision for everything that we are creating, starting right here and right now.
That's right. So if you can clear your schedule, 10:30 a.m. to noon next Saturday, we're going to be right here doing this master class.
That's right.
Thank you so much.
And did you want to have people sign up when we go out, maybe?
Yeah, for sure. I'll
Sign
circle
up.
the space and get that details for sure.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a great idea.
And it would be great if we had their emails so that I can email them instructions about what to bring and et cetera.
Perfect. That's great.
Okay?
All right, the kiddos are coming in. They're bursting at the seams.
This little heart of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Look at them shine, yeah.
We have sound. I think there was a leprechaun involved. But we found out that leprechauns like green, and we also found out that God made all the green leaves that we get to enjoy at this time of the year. And let's see, we read a book about how to catch a leprechaun. But none of the traps worked, so be careful on your way to the parking lot. And we had 9 kids today.
Thank you so much, Miss Gwen. And if y'all don't know, back in the day, Miss Gwen used to come in with these felt cutouts as a symbol for the children that would be here, right? And so now we have warm bodies. Babies on deck. We are expanding, y'all. So if you can, we're going to stand and we're going to bless our kiddos. Yeah, so we're going to rub our hands together. He said, please stop saying kiddo. You got it. We're going to rub our hands together and we're going to just say simply, children. You are perfect just the way you are. The divine, magnificent, outpicturing of source. Everything you desire is yours because you and God are one. All right, y'all, let's circle up.
Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be, with God as creator. Family are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow, to take each moment